Deuteronomy 1. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel in the wilderness east of the Jordan, in the Arabah opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, and Dizahab. It is an 11-day journey from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by way of Mount Seir. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses proclaimed to the Israelites all that the Lord had commanded him concerning them. This was after he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and then at Edrei had defeated Og, king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth. On the east side of the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moses began to explain this law, saying, "The Lord our God said to us at Horeb, 'You have stayed at this mountain long enough. Resume your journey and go to the hill country of the Amorites. Go to all the neighboring peoples in the Arabah, in the hill country, in the foothills, in the Negev, and along the sea coast to the land of the Canaanites and to Lebanon, as far as the great river Euphrates. See, I have placed the land before you. Enter and possess the land that the Lord swore he would give to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants after them. At that time I said to you, I cannot carry the burden for you alone. The Lord your God has multiplied you, so that today you are as numerous as the stars in the sky. May the Lord, the God of your fathers, increase you 1,000 times over and bless you as he has promised. But how can I bear your troubles, burdens, and disputes all by myself? Choose for yourselves wise, understanding, and respected men from each of your tribes, and I will appoint them as your leaders." And you answered me and said, "What you propose to do is good." So I took the leaders of your tribes, wise and respected men, and appointed them as leaders over you, as commanders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens, and as officers for your tribes. At that time I charged your judges, hear the disputes between your brothers, and judge fairly between a man and his brother or a foreign resident. Show no partiality in judging, hear both small and great alike. Do not be intimidated by anyone, for judgment belongs to God. And bring to me any case too difficult for you, and I will hear it. And at that time I commanded you all the things you were to do. And just as the Lord our God had commanded us, we set out from Horeb and went toward the hill country of the Amorites, through all the vast and terrifying wilderness you have seen. When we reached Kadesh Barnea, I said, "You have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has placed the land before you. Go up and take possession of it as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has told you. Do not be afraid or discouraged." Then all of you approached me and said, "Let us send men ahead of us to search out the land and bring us word of what route to follow and which cities to enter." The plan seemed good to me, so I selected 12 men from among you, one from each tribe. They left and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and spied out the land. They took some of the fruit of the land in their hands, carried it down to us, and brought us word. "It is a good land that the Lord our God is giving us, but you were unwilling to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You grumbled in your tents and said, 'Because the Lord hates us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to be annihilated. Where can we go?' Our brothers have made our hearts melt, saying, 'The people are larger and taller than we are. The cities are large with walls up to the heavens. We even saw the descendants of the Anakim there.' So I said to you, do not be terrified or afraid of them. The Lord your God, who goes before you, will fight for you, just as you saw him do for you in Egypt and in the wilderness, where the Lord your God carried you, as a man carries his son, all the way by which you traveled until you reached this place. But in spite of all this, you did not trust the Lord your God, who went before you on the journey, in the fire by night and in the cloud by day, to seek out a place for you to camp and to show you the road to travel. When the Lord heard your words, he grew angry and swore an oath, saying, 'Not one of the men of this evil generation shall see the good land I swore to give your fathers, except Caleb son of Jephunneh. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land on which he has set foot, because he followed the Lord wholeheartedly.' The Lord was also angry with me on your account, And he said, "Not even you shall enter the land. Joshua son of Nun, who stands before you, will enter it. Encourage him, for he will enable Israel to inherit the land. And the little ones you said would become captives, your children who on that day did not know good from evil, will enter the land that I will give them, and they will possess it. But you are to turn back and head for the wilderness along the route to the Red Sea." "We have sinned against the Lord," you replied. "We will go up and fight as the Lord our God has commanded us." Then each of you put on his weapons of war, thinking it easy to go up into the hill country. But the Lord said to me, "Tell them not to go up and fight, for I am not with you to keep you from defeat by your enemies." So I spoke to you, but you would not listen. You rebelled against the command of the Lord and presumptuously went up into the hill country. Then the Amorites who lived in the hills came out against you and chased you like a swarm of bees. They routed you from Seir all the way to Hormah, and you returned and wept before the Lord, but he would not listen to your voice or give ear to you. For this reason you stayed in Kadesh for a long time, a very long time. Deuteronomy 2. Then we turned back and headed for the wilderness by way of the Red Sea, as the Lord had instructed me. And for many days we wandered around Mount Seir. At this time the Lord said to me, "You have been wandering around this hill country long enough. Turn to the north and command the people. You will pass through the territory of your brothers, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. They will be afraid of you, so you must be very careful. Do not provoke them, for I will not give you any of their land, not even a footprint, because I have given Mount Seir to Esau as his possession. You are to pay them in silver for the food you eat and the water you drink. Indeed, the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hands. He has watched over your journey through this vast wilderness. The Lord your God has been with you these 40 years, and you have lacked nothing." So we passed by our brothers, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. We turned away from the Arabah road, which comes up from Elath and Ezion-Geber, and traveled along the road of the wilderness of Moab. Then the Lord said to me, "Do not harass the Moabites or provoke them to war, for I will not give you any of their land, because I have given Ar to the descendants of Lot as their possession." The Amites used to live there, a people great and many, as tall as the Anakites. Like the Anakites, they were also regarded as Rephaim, though the Moabites called them Emets. The Horites used to live in Seir, but the descendants of Esau drove them out. They destroyed the Horites from before them and settled in their place, just as Israel did in the land that the Lord gave them as their possession. Now arise and cross over the brook of Zered. So we crossed over the brook of Zered. The time we spent traveling from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed over the brook of Zered was 38 years, until that entire generation of fighting men had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn to them. Indeed, the Lord's hand was against them, to eliminate them from the camp, until they had all perished. Now when all the fighting men among the people had died, the Lord said to me, "Today you are going to cross the border of Moab at Ar. But when you get close to the Ammonites, do not harass them or provoke them, for I will not give you any of the land of the Ammonites. I have given it to the descendants of Lot as their possession." That too was regarded as the land of the Rephaim who used to live there, though the Ammonites called them Zamzumites. They were a people great and many, as tall as the Anakites, but the Lord destroyed them from before the Ammonites, who drove them out and settled in their place, just as he had done for the descendants of Esau, who lived in Seir, when he destroyed the Horites from before them. They drove them out and have lived in their place to this day. And the Avim, who lived in villages as far as Gaza, were destroyed by the Caphtorites, who came out of Caphtor and settled in their place. Arise, set out, and cross the Arnon Valley. See, I have delivered into your hands Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to take possession of it and engage him in battle. This very day I will begin to put the dread and fear of you upon all the nations under heaven. They will hear the reports of you and tremble in anguish because of you. So from the wilderness of Kedemoth I sent messengers with an offer of peace to Sihon, king of Heshbon, saying, Let us pass through your land. We will stay on the main road. We will not turn to the right or to the left. You can sell us food to eat and water to drink in exchange for silver. Only let us pass through on foot, just as the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir, and the Moabites who live in Ar did for us, until we cross the Jordan into the land that the Lord our God is giving us. But Sihon king of Heshbon would not let us pass through, for the Lord your God had made his spirit stubborn and his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into your hand, as is the case this day. Then the Lord said to me, See, I have begun to deliver Sihon and his land over to you. Now begin to conquer and possess his land. So Sihon and his whole army came out for battle against us at Jahaz, and the Lord our God delivered him over to us, and we defeated him and his sons and his whole army. At that time we captured all his cities and devoted to destruction the people of every city, including women and children. We left no survivors. We carried off for ourselves only the livestock and the plunder from the cities we captured. From Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the valley, even as far as Gilead, not one city had walls too high for us. The Lord our God gave us all of them, but you did not go near the land of the Ammonites, or the land along the banks of the Jabbok River, or the cities of the hill country, or any place that the Lord our God had forbidden. Deuteronomy 3. Then we turned and went up the road to Bashan, and Og king of Bashan and his whole army came out to meet us in battle at Edrei. But the Lord said to me, Do not fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand, along with all his people and his land. Do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon. So the Lord our God also delivered Og king of Bashan and his whole army into our hands. We struck them down until no survivor was left. At that time we captured all 60 of his cities. There was not a single city we failed to take. The entire region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls and gates and bars, and there were many more unwalled villages. We devoted them to destruction, as we had done to Sihon king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the livestock and plunder of the cities we carried off for ourselves. At that time we took from the 2 kings of the Amorites the land across the Jordan, from the Arnon Valley as far as Mount Hermon, which the Sidonians call Syrian, but the Amorites call Senir, all the cities of the plateau, all of Gilead, and all of Bashan as far as the cities of Salekah and Edrei in the kingdom of Og. For only Og king of Bashan had remained of the remnant of the Rephaim. His bed of iron, 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, is still in Rabbah of the Ammonites. So at that time we took possession of this land. To the Reubenites and Gadites I gave the land beyond Aroer, along the Arnon Valley, and half the hill country of Gilead, along with its cities. To the half-tribe of Manasseh I gave the rest of Gilead and all of Bashan, the kingdom of Og. The entire region of Argob, the whole territory of Bashan, used to be called the land of the Rephaim. Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, took the whole region of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and Maacathites. He renamed Bashan after himself Havoth Jair, by which it is called to this day. To Mashir I gave Gilead, and to the Reubenites and Gadites I gave the territory from Gilead to the Arnon Valley. The middle of the valley was the border, and up to the Jabbok River, the border of the Ammonites. The Jordan River in the Arabah bordered it from Chinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, with the slopes of Pisgah to the east. At that time I commanded you, The Lord your God has given you this land to possess. All your men of valor are to cross over, armed for battle, ahead of your brothers, the Israelites. But your wives, your children, and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, may remain in the cities I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your brothers as he has to you, and they too have taken possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving them across the Jordan. Then each of you may return to the possession I have given you. And at that time I commanded Joshua, Your own eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. The Lord will do the same to all the kingdoms you are about to enter. Do not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God himself will fight for you. At that time I also pleaded with the Lord, O Lord God, you have begun to show your greatness and power to your servant. For what God in heaven or on earth can perform such works and mighty acts as yours? Please let me cross over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, that pleasant hill country as well as Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me on account of you, and he would not listen to me. That is enough, the Lord said to me. Do not speak to me again about this matter. Go to the top of Pisgah and look to the west and north and south and east. See the land with your own eyes, for you will not cross this Jordan. But commission Joshua, encourage him and strengthen him, for he will cross over ahead of the people and enable them to inherit the land that you will see. So we stayed in the valley opposite Beth Peor. Deuteronomy 4. Hear now, O Israel, the statutes and ordinances I am teaching you to follow, so that you may live and may enter and take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, is giving you. You must not add to or subtract from what I command you, so that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God that I am giving you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor. For the Lord your God destroyed from among you all who followed Baal of Peor. But you who held fast to the Lord your God are alive to this day, every one of you. See, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, just as the Lord my God has commanded me, so that you may follow them in the land that you are about to enter and possess. Observe them carefully, for this will show your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the peoples, who will hear of all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is great enough to have a God as near to them as the Lord our God is to us whenever we call on him? And what nation is great enough to have righteous statutes and ordinances like this entire law I set before you today? Only be on your guard and diligently watch yourselves so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, and so that they do not slip from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and grandchildren. The day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, the Lord said to me, gather the people before me to hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and that they may teach them to their children. You came near and stood at the base of the mountain, a mountain blazing with fire to the heavens, with black clouds and deep darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of the words but saw no form. There was only a voice. He declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to follow, the 10 commandments that he wrote on 2 tablets of stone. At that time the Lord commanded me to teach you the statutes and ordinances you are to follow in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. So since you saw no form of any kind on the day the Lord spoke to you out of the fire at Horeb, be careful that you do not act corruptly and make an idol for yourselves of any form or shape, whether in the likeness of a male or female, of any beast that is on the earth or bird that flies in the air, or of any creature that crawls on the ground, or fish that is in the waters below. When you look to the heavens and see the sun and moon and stars, all the host of heaven, do not be enticed to bow down and worship what the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. Yet the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be the people of his inheritance, as you are today. The Lord, however, was angry with me on account of you, and he swore that I would not cross the Jordan to enter the good land that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. For I will not be crossing the Jordan, because I must die in this land. But you shall cross over and take possession of that good land. Be careful that you do not forget the covenant of the Lord your God that he made with you. Do not make an idol for yourselves in the form of anything he has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. After you have children and grandchildren, and you have been in the land a long time, if you then act corruptly and make an idol of any form, doing evil in the sight of the Lord your God, and provoking him to anger, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you this day, that you will quickly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not live long upon it, but will be utterly destroyed. Then the Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and only a few of you will survive among the nations to which the Lord will drive you. And there you will serve man-made gods of wood and stone, which cannot see or hear or eat or smell. But if from there you will seek the Lord your God, you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in distress and all these things have happened to you, then in later days you will return to the Lord your God and listen to his voice. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon you or destroy you or forget the covenant with your fathers, which he swore to them by oath. Indeed, ask now from one end of the heavens to the other about the days that long preceded you, from the day that God created man on earth. Has anything as great as this ever happened or been reported? Has a people ever heard the voice of God speaking out of the fire, as you have and lived? Or has any God tried to take as his own a nation out of another nation, by trials, signs, wonders, and war, by a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, as the Lord your God did for you in Egypt, before your eyes? You were shown these things so that you would know that the Lord is God. There is no other besides him. He let you hear his voice from heaven to discipline you, and on earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the fire. Because he loved your fathers, he chose their descendants after them and brought you out of Egypt by his presence and great power, to drive out before you nations greater and mightier than you, and to bring you into their land and give it to you for your inheritance, as it is this day. Know therefore this day and take to heart that the Lord is God in heaven above and on the earth below. There is no other. Keep his statutes and commandments, which I am giving you today, so that you and your children after you may prosper, and that you may live long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set aside 3 cities across the Jordan to the east, to which a manslayer could flee after killing his neighbor unintentionally without prior malice. To save one's own life, he could flee to one of these cities: Bezer in the wilderness on the plateau belonging to the Reubenites, Ramoth in Gilead belonging to the Gadites, or Golan in Bashan belonging to the Manassites. This is the law that Moses set before the Israelites. These are the testimonies, statutes, and ordinances that Moses proclaimed to them after they had come out of Egypt, while they were in the valley across the Jordan facing Beth-peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon and was defeated by Moses and the Israelites after they had come out of Egypt. They took possession of the land belonging to Sihon and to Og, king of Bashan, the 2 Amorite kings across the Jordan to the east, extending from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley as far as Mount Sion, that is Hermon, including all the Arabah on the east side of the Jordan, and as far as the Sea of the Arabah, below the slopes of Pisgah. Deuteronomy 5. Then Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and ordinances that I declare in your hearing this day. Learn them and observe them carefully. The Lord our God made a covenant with us at Horeb. He did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with all of us who are alive here today. The Lord spoke with you face to face out of the fire on the mountain. At that time I was standing between the Lord and you to declare to you the word of the Lord, because you were afraid of the fire and would not go up the mountain. And he said, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in the heavens above, on the earth below, or in the waters beneath. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on their children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me, but showing loving devotion to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not leave anyone unpunished who takes his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, as the Lord your God has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God, on which you must not do any work. neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your manservant or maidservant, nor your ox or donkey or any of your livestock, nor the foreigner within your gates, so that your manservant and maidservant may rest as you do. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord your God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. That is why the Lord your God has commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother as the Lord your God has commanded you, so that your days may be long, and that it may go well with you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not covet your neighbor's house or field, or his manservant or maidservant, or his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. The Lord spoke these commandments in a loud voice to your whole assembly out of the fire, the cloud, and the deep darkness on the mountain. He added nothing more. And he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. And when you heard the voice out of the darkness while the mountain was blazing with fire, all the heads of your tribes and your elders approached me, and you said, Behold, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the fire. Today we have seen that a man can live even if God speaks with him. But now why should we die? For this great fire will consume us, and we will die if we hear the voice of the Lord our God any longer. For who of all flesh has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the fire, as we have, and survived? Go near and listen to all that the Lord our God says. Then you can tell us everything the Lord our God tells you. We will listen and obey. And the Lord heard the words you spoke to me, and he said to me, I have heard the words that these people have spoken to you. They have done well in all that they have spoken. If only they had such a heart to fear me and keep all my commandments always, so that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go and tell them, return to your tents. But you stand here with me, that I may speak to you all the commandments and statutes and ordinances you are to teach them to follow in the land that I am giving them to possess. So be careful to do as the Lord your God has commanded you. You are not to turn aside to the right or to the left. You must walk in all the ways that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. Deuteronomy 6. These are the commandments and statutes and ordinances that the Lord your God has instructed me to teach you to follow in the land that you are about to enter and possess, so that you and your children and grandchildren may fear the Lord your God all the days of your lives by keeping all his statutes and commandments that I give you, and so that your days may be prolonged. Hear, O Israel, and be careful to observe them, so that you may prosper and multiply greatly in a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised you. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These words I am commanding you today are to be upon your hearts, and you shall teach them diligently to your children and speak of them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as reminders on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. And when the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would give you, a land with great and splendid cities that you did not build, with houses full of every good thing with which you did not fill them, with wells that you did not dig, and with vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant. And when you eat and are satisfied, be careful not to forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Fear the Lord your God, serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you. For the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God. Otherwise, the anger of the Lord your God will be kindled against you, and he will wipe you off the face of the earth. Do not test the Lord your God as you tested him at Massah. You are to diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God and the testimonies and statutes he has given you. Do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, so that it may be well with you, and that you may enter and possess the good land that the Lord your God swore to give your fathers, driving out all your enemies before you, as the Lord has said. In the future, when your son asks, "What is the meaning of the decrees and statutes and ordinances that the Lord our God has commanded you?" Then you are to tell him, "We were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord inflicted great and devastating signs and wonders on Egypt, on Pharaoh, and on all his household. But he brought us out from there to lead us in and give us the land that he had sworn to our fathers. And the Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes and to fear the Lord our God, that we may always be prosperous and preserved, as we are to this day. And if we are careful to observe every one of these commandments before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us, then that will be our righteousness." That concludes today's reading. Thank you for being part of this holy journey. In these days when Christianity is tested and truth is dimmed by the noise of the world, your presence here matters more than ever. May these words strengthen your spirit, guide your steps, and remind you that you are never alone. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Go in his peace.